My name is Carleen McGuinty, and I'm World Vision Canada's Child Protection Policy Advisor. I've always tried to understand how people can abuse and exploit those who are most vulnerable in our societies, and I've never found a reason for it. So I'm driven to sort of help children out of those situations or prevent them from getting to those situations in the first place. So child trafficking is a complicated problem. The best way to explain it is when a child, so a person under the age of 18, is recruited or transferred or received for the purpose of exploitation. And they can use means of force or not to get someone into that position of exploitation. And what I like to tell people is that no country is immune, including Canada. A common misconception is that children are trafficked only for sexual exploitation. And that's an issue I have with a lot of the discourse that we hear these days, is that actually half of the trafficking victims in the world are trafficked for labor. They're exploited for their labor in factories, on fishing boats, and we can't forget all that 50% of the victims out there. World Vision's been working at preventing and responding to the problem of child trafficking for over 10 years. So we do a lot of work in the Asia Pacific region. So we work in countries like Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, China, the Philippines, areas where there's a lot of child trafficking. So we've done some great work there, and we do work on a few different levels. First is we work with communities and make sure that they understand that their children are at risk to traffickers, because oftentimes parents will voluntarily hand their children over. Sometimes they don't realize that the child will end up in a situation of exploitation, and sometimes they do understand that there is a risk there. So it's working with them to understand what the risks are. The second thing that we do is we work with governments, and we try to make sure that governments have the right laws and the right programs in place to either prevent this from happening or to better respond to it. And we also work with police, and we make sure that police know how to go in communities and how to identify situations of trafficking, how to make sure that they're treating children who are victims as children and not putting them in jail with adults, for example. So that's some of the programming that we do. We don't only do it in the Asia region, but we also do programming in Latin America, and we do some programming in Haiti in the emergency response phase, and we also do some programming in Africa, as well as in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. I think everyone has a role to play in ending child trafficking, and the one thing I would encourage everyone to do is to learn, get educated, understand what is this problem, what's happening overseas and what's happening right here in our own borders. And the second thing is become an advocate. Take that knowledge and share that knowledge. Share it with your friend, share it with your mom, share it with your grandma, share it with your bus driver. Make sure that people understand that this is a problem occurring in our communities.